So how do you think we're going to fight back against these fact checks? Is it going to be through just, doing our best to put the truth out there, or are there going to be other measures we're going to need to take?
I think the most important thing is going to be transparency, but also like on our end, like showing, hey, this is how we arrived at this conclusion. We're not just, coming up with conspiracy theories. But also, I think what you did, of course, at my behest, I take credit for all of Michael's successes, writing sort of an explainer, kind of showing why this fact check is just a matter of semantics, why it is obfuscating the heart of the matter.
Yes.
Because oftentimes these fact checks, and I've seen my share during my time here, oftentimes these fact checks become a matter of semantics, or they will, depending on what best serves the agenda, the leftist agenda, the fact check will either only focus on the letter, like to the exact letter of the issue, or it'll focus on the heart of the issue. In this case, they're clearly focusing on the letter of the law, and ignoring the heart of the issue. I've seen others where it's the reverse. But in this case, it's very clearly a matter of them nitpicking every little word to cover for Biden. And I think it's important for us at the Western Journal, like I said, the explainer you wrote is a great way to do it, but also for viewers and readers, seek out the truth. Don't just assume PolitiFact is correct. Don't just assume Facebook fact checkers care about facts. Look at different sources. Come to your own conclusion.
Yes.
And go off of that.
Yeah. To kind of go off of what you were saying a bit, and I completely agree. I think that we need to start to fight to make voices heard that really establish the difference between absolute truth and an opinion-based fact check. And I think that a lot of people, when they read sources like CNN or when they read sources like the New York Times, they assume that because this is a prominent news organization, this is the absolute truth. And I mean, of course, that can be further from the truth, but I think that we need to really make sure that we are uplifting people that will tell the absolute truth and that will make known, hey, this fact-checking service didn't get this right because of this, and this reason. And, that's kind of what you did in explaining the reason why the fact check was faulty. And I think that, personally, I really don't believe that fact-checking services do a whole lot. I think that they're a tool. I think they're a tool used by the left to say, this is why I'm right and this is why you're wrong. And I don't believe that we need that. I think it's just another avenue for leftist thought police to kind of take an agenda and run with it. But I do think that we need to help people who will call out the bias earn a more prominent place in mainstream news outlets. And obviously that's not going to really happen in CNN. But I think that we could help it happen. And I think that you guys are contributing to this by even watching this podcast, supporting journalistic organizations that are committed to finding the actual truth and that are committed to reporting that absolute and whole truth.
Yeah. Well, the other thing I've seen recently is there's a lot of conservatives saying that, okay, well, the way to fight back for us will be to just create our own fact-checking organizations. And to me, that kind of hits me as a bad idea, because the whole notion of why I think this is bad is because, any news outlet can do their own. All news is fact checking. That's what we all do. The difference with these fact checkers is it's these organizations like Facebook and Twitter that claim to be unbiased, that are just pretending to give these organizations this little extra nudge of moral authority that they shouldn't have for any reason whatsoever. They're just another biased news source with their own certain predilections and biases. So what do you guys think would be a good idea to have our own like conservative type of fact-checking organizations, or would that just add to the noise?
Personally, I think that's a horrible idea. I mean, like what I said earlier, I really think that fact-check organizations are kind of a leftist invention. And I think that the reason why a lot of people kind of thrive off of fact checks is because they think that it makes them look good, and they think that it advances an agenda that they're trying to push out there. And I think that, honestly, I think we can do a lot better. I think that we can be committed to presenting the truth in a way that doesn't have to put down the other side in a sense, but just that makes people see what the actual issue is and why why we believe that this is right or this is wrong based on actual facts.
Yeah.
So clearly you guys don't care about facts. That's duly noted.
It's exactly what we said.
I think the essence of a fact check is useful. It does serve a purpose because there is misinformation out there. That is
right.
Without a doubt, that is fact. Yeah. The problem happens. The problem arises when fact checks come with an agenda, and I don't know how we root that out per se. I don't know what the appropriate response is. I don't think having two competing ideological sets of fact checks, I don't think that solves anything.
Right.
So I do agree with you guys there. I'm not sure a conservative or right-leaning fact check group is the answer. If anything, I would almost... I mean, that's the problem. There are no centrist kind of news organizations.
Even if there were, they're biased towards the center. You know what I mean? So it's not like... and they're biased towards whatever predilections those individuals making those judgments and whoever's making the decisions at the top, there's going to be those biases there.
Yeah. I mean, so if we assume that to be fact, if we assume that, and you seem to be pretty sure of this.
Yeah.
If we are saying that there can be no unbiased reporting, then that really does come down to the reader. The reader is the one, or the reader, the viewer, the consumer of said news needs to be the one to make the ultimate decision.
Right.
Now, obviously, the pitfall there is the misinformation I mentioned earlier. But again, that comes down to the reader. If you hear something that you want to hear, don't just believe it's true.
Yeah.
Go dig into it. Do the effort, because trusting others to do that for you has led to this whole mess to begin with.
Yes.